Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth, Bob Headland, questions about the town and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now, Ask the Mayor with Bob Headland.
Welcome to another edition of Ask the Mayor. I'm joined this edition by our sometimes fill-in host / producer, Mary Heinrichs. Jim Melody is not with us for this episode. Actually, I got a message the other day. It said more Mary, less Jim, by the way. So you have some fans out there.
Yeah.
This is a rather unique, I won't use the word special, I'll use the word unique episode of Ask the Mayor. As we finished up taping on a couple of episodes, I walked out of the office, and in my office complaining to my staff was a well-known person to WETC viewers who watch coverage of town meetings. Those of you who might be active on social media in town would be familiar with Mr. Robert Montgomery Thomas, aka the Watchdog, aka the Bulldog, aka Johnny Cash, aka whatever other name that he has used at times, complaining about an episode where we were talking about the Boston Motel. A viewer had written in about Boston Motel, and I referenced the fact that someone had gone out and flyered a neighborhood with some misinformation, and he didn't like Jeff's graphic. So here he was. We happened to have the cameras set up, and we said, well, Bob, why don't you come on in? He was hesitant at first, but eventually I coaxed him in and allowed him to air his grievance. So that's about what you're going to see in a moment, and we'll conclude the show with some other questions and hopefully find it entertaining, and hopefully it didn't intrude too much on legitimate questions, but it did give him a chance to air his grievance. So
certainly did.
With that, we'll watch that. All right.
Good. Hey, lights, camera, action. I can see why you like this job. You know, I call you headshot.
Hold on.
Not for anything bad, because you like to get your picture taken.
Hold on. Are you rolling?
We have one camera rolling.
All set?
Okay.
Okay, welcome to a special edition of Ask the Mayor. We have just closed out taping. Jim Melody has departed the set, our citizen advocate / inquisitor, and one of the most outspoken, prolific citizen advocates that we have in the town of Weymouth has made a special appearance into the mayor's office, so we invited him in. And as fate would have it, as we taping Ask the Mayor here today, Mr. Robert Montgomery Thomas, welcome. I know you're familiar with this office.
Thank you. No, I've never been in here before, although...
Sue Kay never had you in?
No. Oh, actually, yes. I was here, I was presenting something, and she blew it off.
So Mr. Thomas and I go back, I don't know, a long way. I don't know till what year, but you happen to be in the outer office, and as fate would have it, you were here to complain about something you saw on Ask the Mayor. Is that correct?
No, I don't watch the show.
Oh.
No, someone sent me this picture.
Oh, someone who watches the show.
Of this curmudgeonly old guy who apparently is supposed to be me. So I put a heading on it, and I said, I think it's funny, blah, blah, blah.
Now, can I read it before you read it?
I don't have that many teeth.
Clearly, that's not you.
Well, but it's got Boston Motel bombshell.
Okay, now this is the latest episode that ran, and you know what I think? Because I did watch it. And you know I'm not responsible for the graphics. I'm responsible for the verbal content of this.
You're not that good.
Not that high tech, that is correct. I believe this is a caricature of a citizen who received your flyer. I think that's the point they're trying to make. Because I believe, as I recall, during the housing production plan discussion through our workshops and then later before the town council, you had a concern that there was a conspiracy afoot to develop the Boston Motel, and you distributed some flyers in a neighborhood adjacent to the Boston Motel, otherwise known as the BOMO. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's the point of the caricature. Okay. That's a constituent.
Well, I think it's funny.
Well, there may be a guy in that neighborhood that looks like that, but that's the guy that received the flyer that you produced, which I, as you know, took exception to, because then I wrote a response to the neighborhood.
Well, I don't want to get into all the details of the housing production plan because I do have to go to Dedham right now.
What's in Dedham?
I have actually two standing suits against the town. One is in State Superior Court.
Is that about signage?
No. This is about the place next door to me not being allowed in a highway transition zone. But,
which place?
I'm not going to mention the guy's name.
Well, I know there's a pizza place on one side of you and a pizza place on the other, which is convenient if you like pizza.
Now we have a brewery across the street.
I haven't
Welcome to
sampled their
Weymouth.
product yet. Have you?
No. I'm a diabetic. I don't drink.
And when you did drink, I think Rolling Rock was your beer of choice, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Because you're a Pennsylvania guy.
Yeah.
I think it should have been Iron City or Duquesne, but to each his own. You know Rolling Rock is brewed in Newark, New Jersey now?
Yeah.
So this is your chance, Bob. You are prolific. Anything you want to ask me while you're here, you can be the guest host for a few minutes if you want to hit me with anything.
No, not really. I mean, I just see things unfolding that, I've been warning about. The South, I call it South Flop. I actually renamed it the Titanic because South Flop, otherwise known as Union Point, Southfield, everything else, is going down faster than the Titanic.
Well,
Now,
it's
the
not going
revelation
down.
this morning,
I think one of the principles of the company that's the master developer is going down, but I don't think the project's going down. I think it's a very marketable site, a lot of amenities that will pop up there as a result of the
no
zoning
water,
that's in
no
place.
sewer. How's that going to work?
It's on the developer. It doesn't work without water and sewer. It's as simple as that. You know that, and I know that. We agree on that.
Yeah.
We found some common ground with BMT. I like it. Do you want to go back to this? Because I know you had some
Not
concerns.
really. No, I just thought it was funny.
Somebody actually inquired as to an update. I think it might have been on Ask the Mayor, what's happening at the Boston Motel.
I see he has a new development sign out there, ripe for development.
He's actually repairing the left-hand building there.
Yeah, he put in some handicap ramps.
He has, I believe it's,
I don't go by.
Some
I don't
obligations
go out
he
of
has
my.
with the law
I
on
don't
that.
go out of my house much anymore because there's not really that much exciting for me to see anymore. I mean, if I were to run into you at a beer hall or something, maybe.
that would be fun, but you're a diabetic, you'd have to drink water.
Well, I mean, I could probably sneak in one beer.
What if Donald Trump came to Massachusetts for a rally? Would you get out of your house to go see him speak?
No,
No?
no.
Are you happy with the president's performance?
I think so.
Okay. But you're not happy with the mayor of Weymouth's performance?
No, I think you could do better.
Okay. Well, I'll take that as a ringing endorsement. At least you didn't say something negative. That's a half a positive. I
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
not a bad guy. You're not a bad guy. We differ on a few things.
I think your approach sometimes, Bob, is you bring a lot of facts to light. You go to meetings.
That's
We-
why
we-
I've never
we-
been elected,
we don't
Bob,
have-
because I speak the truth. I speak from the heart. Okay.
Well, the point I was gonna make was-
an old guy like me, 75, toothless. I just had all my teeth pulled. The dentures are not working for me. So this, I said, put in the caption here. This guy has more teeth than me, and I kind of think it's funny.
So the point I was going to make was more people need to be civically engaged. A lot of people
big time.
aren't paying attention. What
Big
did Ben
time.
Franklin say when he came out of the Constitutional Convention, ratifying convention in 1787? What did he say when the woman said, "Mr. Franklin, what kind of government have you given us?" Do you remember?
Was he accused of sexual assault?
No. He said, "Ma'am, a republic if you can keep it." And we're losing it because people aren't paying attention as to how they're governed.
Well, Jefferson
so I give
said
you
we
credit
need a
for paying
revolution
attention.
every 20 years.
Right. So I
The-
give you credit.
the-
I give you credit for being engaged. The point I was going to make was, you bring facts to light on occasion, but sometimes, and especially lately, it seems as though your delivery, you lose people because you personalize things and you get a little bit too. I noticed a couple times on Facebook you get kind of angry and use bad language, which doesn't help the cause, I think. That's my
Well, I'm
personal
not running
opinion.
for office anymore, so I mean, I have people that get in my face, and I get, you should know me well enough
But it seems like you relish
that
that.
I never get mad. I get even.
But it seems like you relish that.
Well, I do.
You try to
I do.
entice
It
people
gives
to,
me,
to
my
respond in
raison
kind.
d'etre. My reason to live.
Well, you lose people when you do that. That's my point.
There's no one here.
I saw you in
Weymouth-
debates for state representative where you presented credible ideas and arguments, and it seems that was the old Bob Montgomery Thomas, the new, and I think I gave you that.
Well, maybe
I gave you the
because I've
nickname
gotten
Monty,
older.
didn't I, many years ago?
Yes, you did.
I'm to
Actually, it was
blame.
my father's nickname. My father, as you know,
Iwo Jima.
was killed, Okinawa, the
Okinawa,
last
excuse
day
me.
of the battle. They called him Monty. This is why I insist on being called Montgomery Thomas. Montgomery is my birth name. So, people just don't get it. I try to show people respect, and sometimes I don't get respect back. But,
So here's your chance. You have a response because you're upset about what happened on Asa. Who provided you with the caricature?
Who provided me with this? I can't reveal my sources.
So someone who watches Ask the Mayor.
Well, it's definitely not me. I did see something in the paper about you switching seats and interviewing yourself. I mean, that was pretty good.
That was good.
Was a time lapse?
So it was actually the same guy that helped that, create that, is the same guy that I think provided that caricature.
Well, good. And I think it's funny. I think it's
He
funny.
likes it.
It's showing an engaged citizen. I had concerns because, and I'm going to take one more minute. I went to
the
the house.
Bomo thing, you had a conspiratorial theory in your head on that. It was so off
I
base.
sat at a table at the HPP meetings, and there was
Housing
a
production
gentleman
plan
here,
meetings.
a developer who is now working up at Zero Front Street,
That would be Mr. Kiley.
was trying to steer the group towards what's known as the Golden Triangle. Well, the Golden Triangle is where they brought all the drugs in from during the Vietnam War, but maybe that misnomer should have
Okay,
been
here's an
changed.
example of what I talked
But
about. Hold on.
When he comes
I'll give you the floor
when
again.
he
Listen,
comes in
listen.
and tries to direct a group of 4 at a table, and then I find out afterwards he's a developer and doing some development work in town. Well, why is this guy? Okay, you give your report, and I'm going to give the minority report. I don't think this is inadequate. This is a great location to change the Boston or the Bomo Motel into 162 apartments.
Which he wasn't.
192.
But that's where the conspiratorial theory in your head developed.
No.
Hold on. Let me respond. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We needed more people like you, citizens, to participate in the housing production plan workshop.
People don't care.
Hold on. I know, that's my point.
People don't care.
We needed more developers to participate in it, right? He was one guy that took the time to show up.
Yeah.
There was no benefit for him.
I almost fell
Hold
over.
on,
I
hold
mean,
on,
he
hold
wears
on,
so much
hold on, hold on,
cologne
hold
that
on.
I almost fell
Hold
over
on.
at
What?
that. It was just like, my God, it was just like wafting on you. It was just like, but he tried to push.
What are you talking about? His cologne?
Well, he's trying to push this location, the Bomo, as the premier site for this new housing production plan.
One could argue that it is.
Well, however, if you read the news like I do, some of the reports that I get, these mixed-use developments throughout the country are not working. They're not renting the lower floors. You still have at the Landing 53, you have empty space. It's
Well, there's
not
a reason for
working.
that. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, people crash into the building.
No,
from
there's a
time to
reason
time.
for that. The developer, my beef with Landing 53 is he needed to call it a mixed-use development, and when his focus clearly was residential, which, by the way, is now 100% leased out. The commercial, and I don't want to get too critical of Braintree's planning board.
Studio,
but
1750.
To me, the commercial component of that building was an afterthought.
Affordable to whom? Affordable to whom? I went to these
Well, that's the market,
HPP
Bob.
meetings
You're
because,
a free market guy.
because
Nobody billed that as affordable. It's market rate. The market is driving the rates.
yeah.
And if you have less housing stock,
But if
you're going to have higher
present a
rates.
program calling it Affordable Housing Production Plan, to whom is
Now
it
you're mixing- wait a minute,
affordable?
You're crossing two things again.
But to whom is it affordable?
Now you're getting, hold on, you're getting back to Weymouth
They
again.
called it
Now,
a senior.
You're confusing the viewers.
They
You're
called it
confusing
a
the viewers.
senior housing production plan. I happen to be a senior. No?
This is very entertaining. Why don't you read this while you have the chance? Read that.
No. I have to go to Dedham.
Would you like me to read it?
You can do it. I'm going to leave. I have to.
So
I have
Bob Thomas is upset that you were
No,
referenced.
no. I'm not upset. I think it's funny.
Oh, okay. So your response to something you thought was funny was your attempt to be funny.
No, not
Okay.
really.
This caricature is pretty funny. I was told it appeared on the hit TV show Ask the Headshot. I have a feeling
Okay, I never get mad.
I have a feeling it's supposed to be me, but it's not you. It's a resident who got your flyer. It is your flyer in his hand. But the character has a bald head like Bobby Headshot, and it has several teeth, of which I have none. Then he's shaking a cane, which I don't use. Oh, that's why you made the cane reference out there.
Yeah.
I thought you really did have a cane.
No, I might need one day.
But let's say it's me, except for the balding headshot head and the pronounced almost buck headshot teeth. I don't have buck teeth.
I don't have any.
Anyway, I still think it's funny no matter what Headshot thinks. Actually, Ted does all his thinking and probably drew the caricature. He's quite talented. He's actually a very poor artist. He's Headshot's brain and has been for years. He's Headshot's puppet master who pulls the strings attached to the corners of Headshot's mouth. So I'm putting this out there in case anyone missed it. I hope you get a good laugh. I did. I'm glad you got a good laugh. Good work, Jeff, with finding that particular caricature.
I did.
You should view Ask the Mayor and see the episode where we actually talk about that.
I would rather see the one where you actually interviewed yourself. I mean, I want to see how that was done.
I'll tell you what, here's your opportunity for the next taping.
No,
would you like to ask any questions? Or we can do them now. What would be on your mind if you were the guest
I
host?
need to go to court before 4:30.
So what would be the one question you'd want to ask if you were on Ask the Mayor like you are now?
I'd have to ponder that question.
You can't come up with one off the top of your head. I'm shocked.
No, because I have.
Is that why
a
you bring
job
all
to
those notes with you and
I have
clipboards
a
to town
job to
council
do.
because you have to plan everything in advance? You can't do anything off the cuff?
I have a job to do. I have to deliver this document to Norfolk County Court. I made more copies in case you know.
Where might we find these soon? Are you banned from Facebook, by the way, again?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Well,
Have you thought about toning down the cursory language?
I think it was because I posted a picture of two little kids around a table with pumpkins painted on their behinds. And so the connotation I'm getting from Facebook is that I was exploiting children. This is a joke. It was like it was a Halloween thing. 95 people appreciate it. One person who doesn't like me on Everything is Weymouth, the slam
I thought it had
site.
something to do with the kitchen pictures you posted.
No.
Where can I get a good pizza tonight in Weymouth?
I have no idea.
I thought you recommended some pizza at one point. No?
I can't eat pizza. I don't have any teeth.
Okay. How's the pizza next door?
I haven't had it. Actually, I did have one slice in the oil, just like dribbled down my shirt. So.
Well, we appreciate you coming in to voice your opinion, to leave me this. That was very kind of you. I will.
But you
I'll be
posted
happy
the
to share it with-
caricature on your show.
Well, I'm not responsible for all of the graphics that pop up on my show. Sometimes I
However,
do give
it's-
ideas.
However, it's your show,
Yeah.
so then I would say that you're responsible. And I thought it was funny. I thought
Okay,
it was,
but just for the record, it wasn't
Whose
you.
house is that?
It wasn't you. Jeff, whose house is in the background?
That's someone on.
Did you get copyright, and sign off?
thought it was a picture of your house.
Well, I'm glad you were coming in and had the courage to join us and give us your input. I'm
Oh, I have
disappointed
courage.
you didn't have any
I
questions
have
for
courage.
us.
I just don't have any teeth. And I'm arguing with the dentist now. I gave
Would you
him-
like a mug?
No. Okay. I have a mug.
You can put your rolling rock
I
in
have
there.
a mug,
Okay.
you know?
Well, thanks for joining us. How would I describe you? The bulldog, the citizen advocate, the curmudgeon? How do you want to be referred?
All of the above, but maybe watchdog.
Watchdog. How about Johnny Cash?
No.
Okay. Watchdog, Bob Montgomery Thomas.
So
Special appearance here on Ask the Mayor.
you've been reading all my stuff on Everything Weymouth.
Occasionally it pops up in front of me and I
Yeah,
find
well,
some of it rather interesting.
Yeah.
But I read it on Weymouth is Everything, not Everything Weymouth, right?
Yeah.
But we haven't seen you in a while. Hope you were okay. I was wondering about your health because you've been quiet out there lately. You haven't been at meetings. You haven't
Well,
been on
there's
social
only so
media.
much one person can do, and after a point in time, the one person says, why am I fighting whatever cause it happens to be when no one really gives a damn?
Don Quixote said the same thing.
Okay, and people in Weymouth, for some reason, have just relegated their lives to the people that are in charge, and we are where we are, and we have, look, I can appreciate that you're trying to bring in revenues for the town to operate. Maybe we can pay off OPEB.
And
Okay?
we've actually put money.
$36 million.
And we've been putting money aside in every budget.
Yeah, like $200,000.
I wish I had more, Bob.
I understand, but you're beating a dead horse over at South Flop.
We'll see.
That's a dead horse.
We'll see.
Okay? So, I don't know. This guy came in, he would give these presentations to the town council.
Mary wants to end the show. I'm enjoing this.
Okay. He gave all these hocus pocus presentations. I love some of the aerial stuff they do, the CGI stuff. It was really nice. The guy should be he's like a barker. He's like a corny barker. But,
I've heard him called that before.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't like to call people names but when you look at some of the presentations and you look at the current state of affairs, and you look at the fact that there's no water or sewer at South Flop, or the Titanic, as I like to call it now, when you look at every step that they've missed, and I've read something in the paper where the auditor says, oh, well, we're going to get our mitigation money when it's all done. Well, it's never going to be done, so.
Will
I
you be
mean,
coming to our library ribbon cutting when it's constructed in a few years?
well, I might not
I know
be
you're a
able-
prolific user of the library,
well, I have a smartphone now, so I don't go as much.
but it's not the same.
My brother got me a smartphone. He thought that I should get into the modern world. I learned it in 2 days. It's, you know.
What were you
now I-
using
now I
for,
keep
what were
it
you
going.
using for a phone before?
I had nothing,
You didn't have a phone at home.
just a landline. I just got rid of my landline. You know,
I actually.
I just, you know, I would go to the library, I'd see news feeds, I pick up things. Sometimes I think things and they come true. That's just the way I am. And it's just like, okay, fine. Hey, well, that came true, didn't it? You know?
Well, that wraps
bore-
up another episode
that
of
bore
Ask the
fruit.
Mayor. Any parting words, Bob? What would you like to stay tuned next for? We have a little gimmick on the show where we think of an old rerun.
I gotta
What
run
was
to
your
Dedham.
favorite rerun type
I got to
show
run to
in the
Dedham.
70s? Thanks for coming in, Bob Thomas,
Okay.
signing off.
Either that or I,
the
either
town
that or I-
watchdog.
either that or I have to change the date on the document to October 4th.
Okay, so now we're back with our regular end of the episode, I guess, after watching Mr. Thomas kind of quiz go back and forth with you a little bit. We were kind of surprised at some of the conversation.
I'm not.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was that informative or entertaining. I mean, it was hard to get a word in edgewise. Traditional Ask the Mayor, it was not. Crossfire, it was not. But whatever, it is what it is. So folks,
Yeah, and I
folks
also-
who wonder about Bob, you know, sometimes, and it's just another side of him they'll be able to watch.
I noticed online on social media today too, people are saying like this is edited, and it's really not edited. And what
Right.
I want to clarify, when we edit, we really are just switching cameras.
Right.
It's not editing out content. It is just switching
And
cameras.
I would say 75% of the time I don't see the questions, and when I do see the questions, it's basically when we're waiting for staff to set the camera up, I'll grab Jim's folder and quickly look through what came in. But like I say, 75% of the time I do not see those questions. I enjoy the spontaneity of the show.
Right.
I'd rather, you know, get the surprise, if you will. So.
Right.
Anyway.
So there were a couple of questions that we didn't get to the other day, and one was, it's been a while, Columbian
And we're
Square.
going to kind of do these in rapid form, right?
We are, okay. So Columbian Square, what's the update on Columbian Square?
Okay, Columbian Square, we asked L-Star back in 16 when I came in, advance mitigation payment, which they did. And we did the parking lot and some other improvements. Second phase was go out, hire an engineering firm to look at the traffic issues, which we have to do. It's part of the whole MEPA process about the development that's going on in Union Point. And it's part of the mitigation for some of the work done. It's also part of the mitigation list that the town council worked on years ago. So we used some funding for that to get the engineering work done for the traffic redesign, pedestrian improvements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Long process going through things with the residents, going through things with the merchants, the district council is down there. And we came up with a plan that was really good, well received. And I would say it stalled in the sense that we were trying to advance that in the process, and originally L-Star was going to kind of accelerate the timeline to give us the money to do that. And I would say now that obviously with the management changes underway is stalled. But we're still not behind in the overall timeline.
Oh, okay.
So, because we were looking to accelerate it. So I would say hopefully it all hinges obviously on the short term, L-Star getting the management act together and seeing actual development underway there, which will provide the revenue for them to reimburse us for this mitigation measure and these improvements.
Okay, a lot
More to
of-
come on that.
All right, on to new prominent curbs, as you know, specifically by Pingree, over on Pine and Oak.
Pine and Oak, yep.
People are kind of pushing back on that, worried about snowplow
Some people.
drivers.
Some
Yeah,
people.
snowplow drivers are going, it's going to be catastrophic. People are going to be.
Catastrophic.
Well, people are really upset by those. I was kind of surprised by
Okay,
them.
so I'm not a traffic engineer, and we have areas that have been deemed, unsafe for pedestrians, and especially, routes to school, for instance. Pingree's been a problem for a long time. For those of you that want to question it, I would suggest talking to the crossing guards who have to work there, talk to the teachers, talk to the staff at Pingree. The safety of our children takes preeminence over some of these other issues, to be honest with you. That's been identified as a problem for a long time. We did receive a grant for safe routes to school, a grant for some other improvements around town, like the Pine Street. So these were done through grants driven by safety considerations. I'm not a traffic engineer. I have questions about the Pingree design, to be honest with you, but we know what the goal is, and if it has to be tweaked, we'll tweak it, but we'll see if people get used to it. But I can tell you that the staff at the school appreciates it. It's a huge problem the way it was before.
Okay.
That's the short version. And I think the Pine Street one, I mean, the neighborhood appreciates it, and we get calls all the time. We need you to do traffic calming measures. People want speed bumps in their neighborhood. I mean, there's a clamoring for that. You know, we get those questions
Right.
on the show all the time. So I think, for instance, the Pine Street one, people will adjust to. That's a simple one. So we'll see.
Okay, and
But the Pingree one, it's open for discussion. We'll see how that goes.
are you not concerned about the snowplow drivers hitting those curbs?
I think there's always issues, and sometimes these aren't right. I know Hingham did one year down on Lincoln Street, and they learned after they did it. And this just goes to show you that sometimes traffic engineers and guys sitting at a table looking at blueprints aren't always right. They found that the fire apparatus couldn't negotiate the turn, so they had to rip part of it out.
Okay.
So, like I say, we'll see how it works out, and if it has to be revisited, we'll revisit it. But this is something the quote-unquote experts came up with.
Okay. It appears that the building next door to us, the old former Jackson Square Paint, has stopped and started. Do you have any idea?
I
of
do,
what's going-
actually.
Okay, good.
And now we'll be accused of this being scripted, but I want to say probably a month ago, I ran into the developer, Mr. McLaughlin.
Yes.
There's different rumors about who's actually building this, by the way. I've heard people say, so-and-so, it's McLaughlin out of, he lives out of Quincy, he lives in Hull. I saw him in the supermarket, I asked him what the heck's going on, and he explained to me how his financing works, and I probably shouldn't be talking about his business maybe on the air, but I will. He does not have any considerations with lenders. He's using this out of existing capital. So as his cash flow allows, he then brings another subcontractor in. So
Okay.
I guess he's self-financing. So he's on a different kind of a pace, rather than if you were obviously up against making interest payments. So he's doing it that way. And there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, he owns the property and he's complying with all building permits and town requirements. So he's taking his time, I guess, is the answer to that.
Okay.
And by the way, that was permitted long before I became mayor, because I've heard complaints.
Yeah.
And I will say that we'll see how it looks in the end, but I know our new planning department director had issues with that and doesn't agree with the layout. But it was permitted and approved before we came into office and before Bob Luongo was hired. We have changed the procedures on that, by the way, and we have a design review requirement for some developments like this in the future, and we've actually had ongoing projects go through a design review process.
Okay, so we are out of time, but we do
Don't
want
you
to
have
plug.
some stroke around here and let us get to the remaining two questions?
Well,
see
no,
that
I
you
mean,
have?
I just wanted to plug that we're going to do an Ask the Mayor-a-thon coming in November. And we have decided that we are going to actually go from beginning to end on Ask the Mayor shows. So that people, for us, watching it from WETC's perspective, it really does change up over the course of that time. But we're up over 50 now. And we thought that would be fun, so we'll plug that.
Kind of
That'll be
like
coming in November.
what the Andelmans and Phantom Gourmet do with the Three Stooges on New Year's Eve, I guess.
I don't know that. As you can imagine, I'm not a huge Three Stooges fan.
Okay.
Will you tell me what it is? They just run Three Stooges?
New Year's Eve, they run it for like 12 hours of Three Stooges episodes. And then the two brothers comment in between episodes. They eat
that's
some
clever.
food and they comment on what particular
I'll have to
episode
catch
it
that.
is. What's your
Also-
favorite Three Stooges episode?
There is not one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You
I didn't wa- I recall
we
it
modeled
being
the
on.
show after, I told this before, but we modeled the show after Ask the Manager,
Yes.
the old WSBK TV 38 show. And when we were in high school, a bunch of guys circulated a petition when they had taken the Three Stooges off the air, circulated a petition, and we sent it in to Ask the Manager, demanding that, I think every male in the high school signed it.
Wow.
Women were less interested in it. I guess there's a gender
Yeah,
issue
it's a
with
gender
how
gap,
you
yeah.
appreciate the Three Stooges or not.
I guess so. And my only question that I missed was quickly, are there any conferences that you attend with other mayors?
Okay, that's a great question. There's a whole bunch of mayoral organizations. I do participate in conferences we have a mayor's kind of division, if you will, I forgot the actual name of it, of the Mass Municipal Association, of which Weymouth belongs. I have my issues with Mass Municipal in terms of their effectiveness in lobbying, but through Mass Municipal we are in insurance groups and things like that. So that's why we pay our dues to Mass Municipal. There's a national mayor's conference. I got invited to an event with them, and then they said, you know, by the way, the dues are $60,000 a year. I didn't think it was a good appropriation for the town of Weymouth. The National Conference of Mayors just had their convention in Boston. We are not a member of that because of an inordinate amount of dues that require us to go in that. But Mayor Walsh was hosting it. I was invited to participate as a courtesy. They invited Massachusetts mayors to that, so I did participate in a couple of their events. There's one I just got invited to through something that I don't know if we belong to or not, but we did get the invitation to participate in Honolulu. I will not be going.
Oh, that would be fun.
I know. So the ones I go to thus far since I've been mayor are very boring. I think the furthest one was up in Newburyport, and it was a Mass Municipal. Some of the stuff's been helpful. They've run some seminars on implementing the marijuana stuff. They've done some seminars about where we are with the gaming, things like that, updates on legislation. But nothing exciting thus far, unfortunately.
All right, so we can wrap it up.
Great.
And tune into the next episode.
And I'll be interested to see what kind of feedback we get from viewers. Feel free to comment on the Bob Thomas segment. I'd be wondering if they found that helpful or not. I would say not.
All right.
Hey, I got to give him credit for coming in. He was hesitant at first, so he was kind of a good sport about it, and he didn't swear.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.